Hey everyone, Rob from Southgate Media Group here. Before we get started with this podcast, we have a quick message. If this is your first time checking out the show, we love that you found us and we really hope you enjoy it. What we have to say is for the subscribers. If you enjoy our shows, would you please donate to help keep these going? We don't want to have to put traditional ads on these shows, but this does cost money. So we really do rely heavily on donations. To make a donation to the show, please go to our website, www.southgatemediagroup.com. Go to the page for the show, and in the upper right-hand corner is a donate button. It takes you right to PayPal, and you can donate whatever amount you want. Thanks a lot for listening, everybody. And now, on with the show. Welcome to the Nuff Said podcast. Tonight we are talking episode 10 of season 2 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Let's be specific. What they become. All right, let's get into this one. We should introduce ourselves. I am recalculated Rob Southgate. With me is...
I'm Jalisco Jack Windrowski.
Oh, nice.
And I'm just a Lil
Aw.
sitting here. This is for you, Trip. This is for you.
I thought you were going to go to, I'm just a Lil. Yeah, I'm only a Lil, and I'm sitting here on Capitol Hill.
No.
No.
I'm mourning. I'm mourning right now.
And I'm mourning the death of Trip. Oh, spoiler!
Actually, isn't it,
Spoiler alert. Yeah. We ruined the whole show. It's all right.
Yeah,
All right.
I can't wait till that next review comes in.
I hate you guys. So, okay, where do you guys even want to start? I mean, it's ridiculous to pick apart scene by scene or anything. I think we just got to address every big elephant in the room on this one.
Okay, can I first preface the fact that I predicted it was Kree, even though people argued with me, and last week I predicted it would not be Mac and it would be Trip, and it came true.
Okay, and Alil, you made some predictions too, didn't you?
I believe I did. I think I was with you, Jack. I think we both said that it would be Trip.
Yeah, so we're right and Rob's wrong. That's what I get out of this conversation.
All right. You know what? I will fully take that because, frankly, I will admit I was fully in denial about Trip going. I'm still in denial, even though there's no way. I mean, they didn't just kill him. He turned to
fell
nothing.
apart.
Yeah.
And I was waiting because I thought that maybe he would just stay like that and they would figure it out.
Right.
When his face broke in half, I was like, you're
Right.
done.
Yeah,
Well,
when you disintegrate, it's not like Lucy. We actually never saw Lucy Lawless die, so Rob's fixated on her coming back, but like nobody's going, oh yeah, they're going to put his head back together and he's going to be fine.
No, you know what?
No,
Lucy
Trip
Lawless.
is done.
Lucy Lawless is coming back. Mark my words. I'm going to throw that one out a lot tonight. Mark my words. Because I want to talk about something off the show at the end of our show. But Lucy Lawless, that character will be back. We never saw her death. Trip will not be back unless he's in a box, like an urn sitting on Coulson's desk or something.
Yeah, the reason I predicted that is because he started a relationship with Simmons. It never blossomed. They did nothing with his character.
Well, it's also in the way of Fitz, and I think that they knew that as they were getting into this season. If you have a triangle with him and you have Fitz having brain damage, it's kind of hard to root for the guy that's taking the girl from the guy with brain damage.
Yeah, I think we all agreed, though, that they're not boy and girl. They're more like brother and sister, I think.
Yeah, well, right, but not in his mind. And in this episode, we did get Fitz and Simmons back. And it like all of a sudden clicked. Like to me, anyway, I was like, oh, that's what I've been waiting for. Here it is. This was the episode where they clicked again, right?
Yeah, well, and they did. She I think they did last episode as well. I think it was leading into that. Every time they talked, she started finishing his sentences again.
Right.
And that's where I thought maybe as well, because I almost called the show a bit racist because I was like, are they killing both Mac and Trip here? I was like,
oh my gosh, a little. I wanted to tweet that so bad, and I'm like, I'm going to look racist if I do this, but I just wanted to say, who are the first two to die? The black guys. I'm like, don't do this. It's
Well,
just like
before we finish up that with Fitz and Simmons, when they started to go into the relationship thing, he's like, "Oh, well, is it because no, it's it has nothing to do with us." Like Fitz totally blew off the whole, like they've completely forgotten it.
what do you
Yeah.
mean?
When like they'd gone through like the whole relationship fight last episode about
Right.
well, they started to go into it, and Fitz had said something and says, "No, it's not you at all. It has nothing to do with that. Well, I'm talking about something else." And they like kind of like Fitz glossed over it. It's like, I'm done. We're back on the mission, and I think that kind of signaled the end of
Yeah.
that that chapter. And it was like, okay, well, now it's Fitz and Simmons, and there's no room for Trip.
Yep. Apparently, there was a moment though when he started to crack apart that I thought it was going to be he was going to reveal to be somebody else underneath there, like what was happening to Sky and to Flowers. But nope. Unless he's he's Ant-Man and he's a little tiny guy inside of there, and we just didn't see him.
Right. And the sad part is, I don't think anything would have happened to him unless he did the Chuck Norris thing on the crystals.
Right.
And that's
Right.
when it blew. That's when it blew up into him. It was like, oh, dude did it to himself. He didn't have to be in the room.
Right.
He like winds up in the room. Then he like kicks the crystals, which like blows up into his stomach. And then it's just like, oh, dude.
Trip ends up being the red shirt of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
And he made himself the red shirt. That's what's even sadder. It was like he took it, like they didn't even write him out. He like killed. He kicked the crystal and it took himself out.
He committed TV suicide.
Right.
Just bad decision after bad decision.
So when we get him on the show at some point, that's all we're going to do is just harp on him about that. I'll be like, but don't you want to talk about, yeah, we love your character, but idiot.
Why did you kick that thing?
Why'd you kick it?
And like now all the other Inhumans like have one of these crystals, and they like, they get messages from them, and now neither Flowers or Sky get their messages. Thanks a lot, Trip.
Yeah, thanks, Trip. Yeah, okay, let's talk about Mac. So, first of all, Mac's not dead. We saw him down there, but he's got the black eyes going on.
He's a zombie.
Is he going to come back?
Yes. They already
saved him at
showed
the
it.
end.
Was he back?
Yeah.
He came to, and Coulson was carrying him out of the cave.
I did not catch that.
Yeah, right after the wave like popped out, right before Flowers and Sky crystallized, there was that wave that caused the reaction. That as soon as that wave came out,
right,
the system freed Mac.
Oh, see, I saw him go down at that point, but I didn't see him like his eyes go back to normal or him get up. So I thought I couldn't remember if he was okay. So basically, we've got Mac back.
Yeah, we got Mac and we lost Trip.
Okay.
Even though Mac was the one that was taken over by aliens and became a parasitic zombie and fell down 100-foot well, but yet Trip is the one that died.
Right. But Trip is the one that kicked the crystals.
Yeah.
I don't think he became a zombie. I think he just became a protector of the door.
He became a tool of the Kree.
Well, I didn't make that up. They actually said that in the episode. He's like, "Is he dead?" And Fitz and Simmons go into this diatribe about how these wasps, like, they sting this such and so and inject the eggs into the host or whatever. He becomes a zombie for the eggs or something.
Right.
Oh yeah, I get it. He's a zombie.
Right. So this was all confirmation of the Inhumans. I mean, this was all Inhuman stuff. The vapors, the crystal. I mean, I saw a thing online. Somebody had pictures of the Inhumans and them dealing with crystals that looked exactly like it did on this.
Well, not only that, when he called her Dixie, that
Daisy.
makes her
Daisy.
Daisy.
Yeah, that is like, okay, that's Quake.
Yes. Okay, I want to point this one out. I tweeted that out. I tweeted out a joke. As soon as they said Daisy, I'm like, wait a minute. It rang a bell. I looked it up. Sure enough, it's Quake. I tweet that out, and Charlie, our resident expert, was like, oh, when I tweeted out, like, oh, you're right. I think she's Quake. So I think I got one up on Charlie. I'd like to just get a little credit
you
for
beat
that.
you beat Charlie to the punch. Very
That's
nice.
very difficult.
And if you look, I wikied Quake, and the whole storyline about Quake is how Shield was infiltrated by Hydra and and rebuilt, and AIM comes into the picture, and it was like, holy crap, Agents of Shield has been written around the Quake storyline, not the other way around. This whole series isn't about Shield; it's about the Quake storyline.
Right.
It's like, OMG.
OMG. Jack, I don't think I've ever heard you say that.
I pulled that out to show that I'm young.
Are you a 14-year-old girl?
Maybe. A little bit.
Yeah,
Donate.
but and also it revealed more information about Sky's father, because then he's Dr. Hyde.
Right.
He's a doctor. He's and he
No, it's
goes
Mr.
beast
Hyde.
mode.
It's Mr. Hyde.
Sorry. I thought it was
Right.
sorry.
Whose name is Calvin Zebo, which they called him Cal throughout this. It's like, he's got a name. Once they said his name, it's like everything started to fall into place.
Yep. Now, the only thing that disappointed me is, oh, you don't want to be around me when I'm crazy. All he did was act the same and broke a guy's neck.
Yeah, you know what? They had him go out of the room at the point where he was about to go crazy. And I'm like, you didn't show us.
Yeah, I so wanted to see him, like, Hulk out, and and then Coulson, like, shooting what's his name, Nazi guy,
Whitehall.
Whitehall.
I thought Whitehall was going to get right back up too, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean,
I thought so too.
You can't tell me in the last 100 years that Whitehall hasn't gotten shot numerous times.
Well, he was in jail.
Right. And it's like, all this guy needed to do to get killed is get shot. It's like, really? No, I wanted to see Cal turn green and rip his throat out. And it was
well, now we know he doesn't turn green. He turns into a big hairy mess because he's Mr. Hyde.
Right. But we didn't get to see it.
Yeah, we need to see it. Now, here's another interesting thing about Mr. Hyde. He joins the Thunderbolts, which is something we've talked about on here before. And that makes sense to me, that you would hire Kyle MacLachlan then if you want to expand out, if they eventually want to maybe do a Netflix Thunderbolts or do something with them in a movie or something. You've got a real actor in place for Mr. Hyde. That's a really cool thing.
Oh, yeah.
Alil, you went silent on that. Are you up with that?
No, I am. I was saying at the same time as Jack. I'm totally with that. And I think that might be a way they go with that Netflix series, and who knows, maybe even more with this series.
Yeah, could be,
because they're starting to. I mean, we didn't talk about Raina either, because she was in there,
right? And
all I saw was whiskers.
Okay, let's talk about what happened in that room. I mean, this is really what happened in this episode. Trip dies. Mac's back. Fitz and Simmons are Fitz and Simmons again. Coulson gets the crap beat out of him by Mr. Hyde, who we now know is Mr. Hyde. We now know that Sky is Quake, which is awesome. And Raina, because the thing is called What We Become or What They Become, Raina changes too.
Yeah.
Now,
I don't
you
think
only
she's
saw
gonna
whiskers, but if you watched, it was kind of yellow. It looked kind of caddish. It was almost like a yellow version of the avatar of the Na'vi.
Was it Tigra, or
I don't know. Is she part of that?
Well, that's what my comicbookmovie.com is. They're thinking it's Tigra, because she's had dealings with Shield in the comics, but it wasn't an Inhuman.
So, do you think we're gonna get? See, now that would be I would love it, but I think that's a real departure from how they've set up this show. We haven't seen super beings like that. Big makeup jobs and that. I mean, we've seen Deathlock, but they kind of put him in a painted on hockey jersey.
We had Absorbing Man. I mean, he transformed.
He did. You're right. So do you think we're going to have Tigra walking around here?
Well, I don't know about walking around. I think she'll be more in the shadows.
Either that, or they'll scoop her up and put her in a put her in the new dungeon or something.
Huh.
It's under shield protection or something like they had been doing.
Yeah, I don't know. I think she's going to get out of there, and I think she's going to be around, and I think she's going to resurface, but I'm hoping that we don't get a clear picture of Tigra. But I do think she's Tigra. I really do think that's who she became.
Yeah, I was looking at the fingers and the spines. It was like thinking, man, I forget who said that you may not like the change, or the change is scary. It wasn't scary for Sky at all, but I think it is going to be for Reyna, because those fingers look nasty.
Yeah.
When that came out, it was like, oh man, we just lost Pretty Flowers, and she's going to be a little nasty looking.
Now, Tigra is an interesting character. Wasn't she like kind of good? I can't remember Tigra very well. I mean, I know like you say the name Tigra, I know exactly what the character looks like. I know that, wasn't she like part of Avengers or in like Avengers Academy or something at one point?
I think she's had dealings on both sides, and kind of like Reyna, in this show.
So it kind of fits that she would kind of go back and forth.
I think so. I mean, don't quote me. I mean, again, I plan on picking up a lot of trades now that I got to start reading Inhumans to catch up here. But
I think that's something we need to do. We're not going to have really a hiatus because we've got Agent Carter, but I think that maybe we should get Phil and Charlie involved in this and have them maybe suggest the storylines that we should read, and then we can maybe have a roundtable about it. Kind of talk out about these characters, because they're not going to follow a definite storyline. We're not going to spoil anything, but maybe we could get a little insight into these characters if we all read the same books.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea, because I'm very curious about these characters now. Especially, I know Quake was in Secret Warriors. I read some of that. I didn't read it all, and I plan on getting those, because now that it seems like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is written around that entire storyline.
Yeah,
it's
it is an interesting storyline to pull around too, because I know I've read some of that. And I don't know if it was necessarily the strongest stuff that I read, but seeing it come in here, it's like, this makes a lot of sense that this is the route they'd go. And it really does set up the Inhumans really well. Everyone's going, well, the movie's not for a couple of years. I don't care, because we're going to get enough of this stuff going on here. Like, especially, what are they going to do with Sky? I mean, is she going to be just a regular and kick out these Quake abilities periodically? I mean, this is an interesting place we're in.
Well, what they're supposed in the storyline of Quake, that S.H.I.E.L.D. teaches her how to focus the power, so much so that she is able to disrupt like organs. Like she can cause like organs to vibrate. Like and she's supposed to be a big character in Civil War, because
hold on, I want to think about vibrating organs for a second here.
There you go.
Oh, my kidney, darn it.
Oh. So Wolverine is on the attack, I think, during Civil War, and she obliterates his heart by focusing her Quake energy into that specific spot. So
listen to Jack throwing out the Marvel knowledge now.
I know, right?
Now, why didn't they get Halle Berry to play Tigra?
I think they should.
Although, you know what? I got to say, I'm actually happy with Chloe Bennett playing Tigra. I like Chloe Bennett, so.
Yeah.
Okay. So.
Did you say?
I was going to say Chloe Bennett Sky.
Sky.
Yeah, I like her. I want to see her as Tigra.
Tigra.
I think it's, or not Tigra, as Quake.
As Quake, yeah.
That's what I had the whole thing confused.
I was so confused. I'm like, wait, what's going on?
Sorry, Fitz. Are you okay there?
Yeah, well, as we all know, I am an inch from that happening at this point. So, okay. Now I lost my train of thought. I am Fitz. I had another one I was going to bring up. Son of a gun.
Well, in today's episode, we'll be doing character...
I'm like a Mad Libs. I start to say something and you got to fill in the blanks.
Method acting.
Right.
Rob is Fitz.
Oh, man.
All right, well, what I want to talk about is Mockingbird.
That's what I wanted to talk about. Thank you, Alil. Go ahead.
Because I don't know what it is. It was last week, and now this week, for some odd reason, I don't trust her.
I don't get that.
I don't.
I mean, I get what they were leading you on with last week, but I don't get it. I have none of that.
Well, they've set up the whole thing that we know not to trust her, because first off, when Mac goes down the well, she's like, oh crap. So she starts rooting through her stuff. She's holding the thumb drive, and Hunter, gives her a hug and then says, yeah, I'm not stupid enough to not know that you're hiding a thumb drive for me. And I am, yes, going to trust you that it's not about me, which we know it is. So we know we can't trust her.
But, okay, but I think that they're misleading. I said this last week, too. I think that your not trust of her is not that she is a Hydra agent or anything like that. I think that she is doing her job, just like May did last year when she had to spy on Coulson, and we all went, uh-oh, now we can't trust May? But then it came back around, and we were able to. I think that's what we're getting set up for here, and it could be the beginnings of Sword.
I mean, it could be the beginnings of Sword, but they're not going to do that kind of switcheroo thing twice.
Right, which is why I think the Sword thing is more likely. If it's not that, and if she is sketchy, then they're doing the Ward thing twice.
Well, here's that's another whole thing altogether.
But maybe
Ward gets shot on the way out, and 33 comes in as well. They've killed Whitehall. So now you've got two kind of, Ward was kind of brainwashed by Garrett, and 33 was for real brainwashed by Whitehall. So now they're not bad now, but they can't go back into S.H.I.E.L.D. So it totally sets it up. But back to the Quake storyline, it goes set up with AIM.
No, you mean Mockingbird.
No, the Quake storyline, which is really what they've been following in the episode. If you read the wiki on that, the big storyline in Quake coincides with AIM and not Sword.
Oh, yeah, but Mockingbird and AIM, that's not going to happen.
Well, maybe not. Maybe you've got some that go to Mockingbird stays with S.H.I.E.L.D. and you've got Ward and 33 and maybe a couple others that wind up going over, and Quake that wind up going over to the AIM side.
I don't know how much they're going to draw from AIM at this point because AIM was in Iron Man 3.
Right.
I don't know.
I don't. When
I would like to see an AIM storyline, but I don't think this is it.
Well, the only reason I'm going with that is everything I read, and when I read on that Quake wiki, it was like the whole thing sounded like the Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. storyline so far. It's like, man, they're going right from the book. So I'm just saying, my prediction is that they're going to keep going with this, and this goes somewhere with AIM.
Okay.
So all I got to do is say...
We'll find out. I mean, I think at this point, there is a lot of suspicion, and it could go any way here.
Yeah. I predicted Mac, and I predicted Kree, so this is my next one.
This is the season of Jack.
Well, I still think we're not out of Hydra, because they're gonna have to. I've read that there's gonna be tie-in to Avengers: Age of Ultron, and we know that Von Strucker is in that, so there's gonna be some tie-in to that. And who knows? Maybe this is the way. This is the way to make Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver Inhumans. Maybe they have this option now to now that they've introduced more of the diviners out there, that's how Von Strucker gets them their powers. Maybe what we saw was, it was just the teaser, but maybe we'll get them in an episode here coming up.
Oh,
doesn't anybody want to say that as Von Strucker? Like they do in Hogan's?
Right.
Hogan's Heroes, no?
Well, and you know what? I'm getting that, and all I want to do is say Agents 99 and 86 also.
There's like anybody under like the age of 25 has no clue what we're referencing.
Right. And Jaime's in this too. Oh, what if Ward is Jaime?
Now it's just utter chaos.
Oh, bam! So, okay.
There's some guy going over, I'm 23 and I know exactly what they're talking about.
Right.
Oh, speaking of Quicksilver and the inverted witch and all that, what about the that's what it said, something about the inverted witch.
Does that mean her witch hat hasn't popped out yet?
I'm not sure, but I'm going to have to look up that message again from the group. They're saying the inverted Scarlet Witch casts a spell while fighting Quicksilver and Magneto. It was supposed to affect her bloodline. This is from Philip,
Okay.
and it only worked on Quicksilver, and so Philip says, I guess they are reckoning that Magneto is not their father, and that is kind of a big middle finger from Marvel to Fox, saying that we just made the ownership of your character kind of obsolete, maybe, or
Well, you know that they've got to do some kind of, there's either got to be some kind of retcon to fit with the MCU, or they have to just ignore that whole thing.
right.
Because in the comics, Magneto's their father. But that doesn't mean they can't rewrite that history. And as far as Fox goes, Fox has its own thing going. I mean, Fox can still deal with, hey, this history where he's the father, they can keep that going. And you've got two concurrent Quicksilver and Scarlet Witches going on from that point forward. I have no problem with that, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, it does set up an interesting scenario. Like, they're almost kind of claiming a whole new storyline with it. Like, well, you own that storyline, but maybe we own this storyline now.
Yeah, could be.
Interesting.
Interesting, you say.
I'm confused, but
it's okay a little.
Just
I'm
listen
sure
to the
people listening are
podcast.
too.
Just go back and listen to the podcast, and everything will go, oh, I get it now.
Either that or you'll go,
That's what happens when you finish listening to our podcast.
Yeah.
It all makes sense.
Yeah,
it's
sure.
all connected. Hashtag.
Oh, there you go.
Well,
Ooh.
where were we? We talking about?
I don't know. We were talking about the characters. So, okay. Who did we addressed Tigra, we addressed Quake. Who haven't we addressed yet?
Hydra-Quake.
Ward. Let's talk about Ward. You mentioned Ward.
Yeah.
So Ward gets shot. Okay, do you think Ward was getting his redemption? I mean, this is something we've talked about a lot, and do you think he got his redemption in this, or is the actual road to redemption started happening here?
I think it's the closest to redemption. I think he gets away alive. He saves Guy. They're not going to take him back, but he's not dead and he's not captured. So okay. I think it's a new life for him, and I think they're going to set up something interesting with him in 33, because they won't kind of take them back. She does. Her mind's broke. She doesn't know who she was, or her right now even who she is, because her controller was Whitehall and now he's dead. So she's completely lost. And I don't even know if that face of May will come off. Is that did that get melted on?
Oh, that would be terrible.
It
is kind of funny that she's walking around with that half melted face all the time. It's like, really? Wouldn't you do something? Maybe a little cover up?
Yeah. Well, I think, since she, what was it, Sky that kind of melted her face on, that there's kind of saying that she can't really get it off or something, because I can't tell if it's a scar, because it's supposed to be like a hologram mask.
Right.
So,
but it's like melted on there.
Yeah. Like they're gonna have to get some special doctor or something, and he's gonna have to surgically remove it so she can be her old self again. Because she's not gonna be able to walk around looking half a May the rest of the next season.
Right.
Although
they didn't kill her off in this one.
Yeah. Well, that was really cool though. May got to double act again, and the girl who played 33, she only got her eye. No.
Right.
So what part did you play? I was the eye on Agent 33.
I'm the 33.
I was curious about a line that Ward dropped when he was talking to Agent 33, when he basically told her that she's free now. What do you guys think of that? Like his mentality seems to be different.
Well,
do you think he's been brainwashed in the same way and this broke that magic?
I think he was brainwashed in a totally different way. He came from an abusive family. His handler, which was Garrett, he totally gave him a home and a career.
Yeah, I agree.
But I don't think he ever believed in Hydra. When things were at their height, he was like, I don't care about Hydra. I owe my life to Garrett. And when Garrett was gone, it was like, okay, hail Hydra. Yeah, not really. Don't care.
He even dropped a line in this one about that, where you got the impression it wasn't about Hydra. It was just about Garrett. And he was like, yeah, and the guy I believed in went crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So do you think he's? I don't know. Okay.
I think he's
Do you
pro.
think he's going to live through the getting shot like that? That's what I want to know.
Well, he had didn't he have like a vest or something on that he took off with the bullets on it, like they pierced him, but they didn't go
Well,
through him.
Oh, I didn't
no,
see that. I just saw blood all over his hand, and I thought, ooh,
Yeah, he had some kind
does
of
he have
thing
a
that he
mortal
pulled out.
wound?
No,
He-
he didn't. She shot him from the side and got him under the bulletproof vest that he was wearing.
Right.
But so
And that's why he was bleeding like that.
right. The frontal assault he didn't get all the bullets, but she did catch him in the shoulder, which is why he did the little side bend and clutched under there. So when they took off the vest, there was blood, and he was hit. So 33 is going to have to get him out of there and get him medical help for him to survive.
Sure.
So that's where I think AIM or their incarnation of Sword, where I think that's where it's going to be born. Because they're not really pro Hydra, but, they're not maybe full on good, but they really I don't think they're full on bad, and they will be part of something that kind of competes in a way with Shield.
So
But
maybe
isn't
that's
Sword
go ahead.
Sword with Shield in a way? I mean,
It
they're
is.
a government agency. I don't think Ward. I don't think that's going to happen.
I'm wondering if
doesn't make
they're
sense
setting it up for
to
it to
me.
be a splinter group that because Shield is not in the good graces.
Right.
If this will be a splinter group that's even further out of the good graces, but still fighting essentially the same fight, but whereas Shield isn't about like going in and ripping people's lungs out, the other group doesn't have a problem with that.
Well, and that's also, like I say, that also sets up an interesting thing where AIM is not really a government sponsored group and can kind of go at that extra step and and does kind of compete in a way. Like, they feel like AIM always feels like they have the they have the same mission, but they can do it better.
Sure.
I don't know.
Wow, this podcast got all serious. What happened?
I don't see AIM that way though. I always see AIM as more of a scientific group, not a group that is kind of like a pseudo Shield. Like
Yeah,
see them
I always
more
view them as like a science group that is hellbent on
like world domination
through science.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean they're the advanced idea mechanics. I mean,
Right.
Right.
I mean, what other groups or entities are in Marvel that we can?
Well, maybe they're creating a new one. Maybe they'll use this group to create something else.
I mean, they still have Caterpillar out there or whatever that was.
Caterpillar was just a code name for what was going on with Hydra.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that
Caterpillar's
was
gone. Caterpillar, that was
Garrett's thing. That's right. I forgot.
Yeah, that was a Garrett thing that was fabricated.
Well, and really, Quake and what's Flowers supposed to be now?
Quisp?
Tigra, or neither of them actually were official Inhumans, but they're treating them like they are. So maybe they have a Sword type group. They're not doing a direct because they're kind of changing things for specifically for the show. It looks like.
Yeah.
And, like Rob said, maybe it'll be a very similar kind of thing, but like a competing group, but, not within the government system and not as we know AIM or Sword.
Well, and just like they've done with the Kree and the Inhumans and everything, like they've kept us off balance with it where we're like, yeah, I think we know what's going on, but we may not. And that might be what this is. We might be speculating about this for a little while, and it either will turn out to be one of these groups and then all the pieces fall in place and you go, oh, yeah. Or, like I said, it could be something completely different.
Yeah. I just think...
To quote Monty Python.
Yeah, I just don't see Ward and 33 going back to the fold, and I don't see them doing anything for Hydra. And it's sort of a redemption for Ward, but we're just not going to see him go back, and this is the perfect outlet for him.
Sure.
It's like, Spider-Man is never going to be a policeman, yet, Spidey always provides the criminals, in a nice little web, and I think that's what Ward's going to do every once in a while. Shield is just going to get a criminal.
He's going to put a web up? Gross.
Yeah. He's going to spray them with his...
with Ward webbing? Gross.
Ward jelly.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna trademark that so they can't use it.
Hashtag Ward jelly.
That's awesome.
Spider Ward. Spider word.
Gross.
He
So okay,
farts on his victims, and
jeez. So I think that we've covered the episode. I mean, as much as we can, but I want to talk about other things that happened yesterday, like the big Sony leak. What did you guys think of that?
Go ahead.
Well, you guys know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah. That Marvel Disney had recent talks for Spider-Man to join the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yes. You mean
in
the thing
Civil
that we've
War.
been debating on our private forum for months?
And in Civil War, and in return, Marvel would co-produce a new trilogy for Sony for Spider-Man, basically to help Sony out.
Right.
And they said that talks have fallen or through or broken, but this was really recent, so I doubt that the talks are done.
Yeah, no, here's my take on it. You know, I was reading all this last night, and it was all the stuff that was leaking out there, and it was like, wow. My first reaction was they're going to come out and say this all fell through, because until it's an inked deal, they can't say this is even a possibility. So we don't know whether it is or not. We don't know if this really fell through. But what I found interesting today was, now this all came from, what was it, Superhero Hype or one of those, right?
I don't remember
which
where
group
I saw
it was.
Yeah.
Well, today Latino Review was reporting that yes, they believe that their sources say that negotiations, that first thing that we were hearing about, did fall through, but it wasn't dead. It just they were going back to the drawing table. And what got really interesting is they said today the word coming out of Sony was, you've got Sony Pictures, who's the one that Marvel was negotiating this with, and then you've got Sony Corporate. And Sony Corporate had pretty much left this alone, but now they're saying, because of this leak, this massive leak, and all the attention it got, Sony Corporate got involved today and was making calls to Sony Pictures and saying, you need to work this out, because we're mishandling this property, and there is a chance we could actually make some money at this. So I go back to, I think that missing movie is either a Spider-Man film or a second part to Civil War, because Civil War in one movie that doesn't have Spider-Man, and it doesn't make sense to me. That was way too truncated a version of Civil War. But if you have a second movie and they come out, and the reason they didn't announce anything is nothing was set in stone. They make this deal, they come out with an announcement, we're having Spider-Man. Marvel owns the internet for a few weeks. Then they come out with another announcement, and we're doing a second Civil War movie, a couple months later, featuring Spider-Man. I mean, DC's playing catch up all over the place with that. Do I sound nuts, or does this sound like a legitimate thought?
No, I mean, I've been saying this was going to happen forever. It will happen.
It will happen. Once again, I'm going to say it. Mark my words. It will happen.
And I know Jack is not saying anything because he doesn't want to get into the Spider-Man trap that we normally get to on this show.
Yeah, I'm actually I checked out. I'm actually going back to my complete Marvel Masterworks Nick Fury Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. original comics, and while you're sinking into the Spider-Man sinkhole, I'm looking up the AIM references here.
Okay. That's fine. I mean, Alil and I are happy to swim in the sinkhole. That's disgusting. Jack, you just talk about Ward's jelly a little bit more, and we'll just talk about that.
And we'll be talking about sinkholes.
Yeah, this whole podcast is going in a sinkhole right now. So, Alil, I mean, you and I are on the same page with this thing. It's gonna happen. I just don't know. I just don't know if they're going to put it together quickly enough to make it happen the way people are thinking. But boy, I like the idea of Marvel stepping in, producing those movies with Sony, making a deal that way. That makes a lot more sense than Sony just giving it up to them.
Right, because they're going to still invest in making their own movies, but Marvel's going to help it out because it's Marvel's brand and it's Marvel's tentpole character. I mean, you look at a Marvel logo, Spider-Man's face is on it, no matter what it is.
Right.
And
here's another thing that could be a factor in this. Everyone talks about they wouldn't want to give up the money with the movie. What if, they don't really push the Spider-Man toys the way they could be, just like they don't push the X-Men toys the way they could. If Marvel makes a deal where they get complete licensing for Spider-Man, for the toys based on the film.
No, they do.
Yeah, but they don't push it because they don't want to build up the other company's property the same way they do their properties.
No. They have a bigger cut. They renegotiated this deal with Sony. This is why I think this was going to happen all along. Sony gave them money back in Spider-Man's rights for figures and all this kind of stuff. Like
Okay.
Marvel gets a huge cut, and they do push the figures out. When Amazing Spider-Man 1 came out, there was a huge line of figures that came out. They were
Oh, see, I don't remember that.
They were crap, let me tell you. But they had a huge line of figures. Amazing Spider-Man 2 came out. They had a whole 6-inch Marvel Legends line. They had a bunch of other stuff that they threw in there. There was enough collectibles and stuff for. I think because Amazing Spider-Man 1 figures became peg warmers, they didn't go super deep with Amazing Spider-Man 2, but they did the same. They did they did about the same as what they did for Captain America, with the figure line. So in Spider-Man, the toys and all that kind of stuff, I don't think that's an issue at all. I just think that this is a better investment overall for Sony. They're going to get their character in these movies that are making billions of dollars. Well, and guess what? If they
I think that was my point, though, is regardless of whether they have that deal in place, that is a big factor, and that is a benefit. Like Marvel may not be asking for that much to step in and help them produce this film and be able to use the character as in a reciprocal way, because they do make money off that back end stuff. And if they look at it as an overall, like if they make it part of their financial mix rather than saying movie money, this and this, and that's how everyone that talks about it as separate things. But if they don't look at it as separate things, I think that's where the magic happens, and that's where this deal happens.
I agree with you there. So.
But I do not foresee a day that the Fox thing happens. Not until they crash and burn with Fantastic Four bad enough, and Marvel does something magical with Spider-Man, and they go, you know what? We can bleed over and make something happen here. That's the only, like maybe they give them some licensing or something.
Yeah, because we need Galactus to fight the Avengers.
Oh, we do. Oh my gosh, do we? And we need Silver Surfer in there again too.
Yeah, because I really want to see a Secret Wars movie.
You know what? I think that's really what this is leading to. And when we start talking about phases, so phase 3 is Infinity Wars. I don't think we're going to see phase 4 be Secret Wars, but I think maybe phase 5 or maybe phase 6 leads to Secret Wars.
All right, well, phase 6, I might be dead. So
phase 6 is how far they go, isn't it? When you start adding up the timeline that Kevin Feige had said, doesn't it take
2028?
Doesn't it take you to 2028, getting a sixth, getting into a phase 6?
Maybe
if they stay in the same timeline.
That'd be 10 years after Infinity War,
which would give us time to get to 2028.
Yep.
So it would make sense that maybe phase 5 is Secret Wars, or I don't think you end with Secret Wars. I think you do Secret Wars, and then or maybe you do. Maybe it's just an all-out superhero battle to end this thing.
Well, but that's all we're getting, though. I mean, Civil War, all-out superhero battle, Infinity War, all-out superhero battle. I don't know.
Yeah, but Secret Wars is a different thing.
Well, yeah, but Secret Wars, I guess it depends on how they do it. Because if they do it where they just, pick, a handful of people here, you got Doom and Skull and whoever else they threw in there and throw them on a planet to fight, it's not a real good story.
Yeah, but is that why they
weren't great?
But Alil, is that why they're doing a new Secret Wars this year?
To tell a better story, probably.
Yeah, to make it a stronger story, make it a property that they can actually make into something.
Yeah, I can see that. I hope so, because I know I just said it's not a great story, but I own all the comics, and what are you
showing off? I own all the comics.
There's only 12.
Take that, everybody! I own all the comics. I'm a Lil.
I do. Because Spider-Man got his black costume. Anything Spider-Man, I got it. So, yeah, I like the idea. I don't know if they're gonna go. I don't know if they're gonna go that deep, but I do think within the next 2 years we're gonna get Spider-Man somewhere in this Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Oh, I don't think we're gonna wait more than I think at the latest we're talking after Infinity Wars, but I don't think we're waiting that long. I think it happens before that. I don't think that it will be a Spider-Man movie under the Marvel banner, under MCU, but I think that this deal is going to happen. And if they produce a trilogy and they let him bleed over and maybe they loan a couple of their characters. Iron Man shows up in a Sony produced Spider-Man movie for a short bit. That'd be huge. Why not at that point? Why not share a little bit that way to make something incredible happen? Yeah, it's fan service, but let's face it. What is Marvel all about but fan service, right?
That's right. I watched Guardians of the Galaxy 3 times in the last 10 hours.
Oh my god! Do you know how many times Groot comes up in our household now? I mean, it's like daily, multiple times. My daughter Molly will bring up like she saw that picture. Did you see the picture of the person that made the Groot Christmas tree?
No, I didn't see that one.
You got to Google Groot Christmas tree. Somebody made a tree topper that is Groot's head, and they used that as the topper on their Christmas tree.
Nice.
And it's fantastic. And then they have a stuffed Rocket Raccoon sitting up towards the head. It's fantastic. It's all Molly can talk about. Next year, can we get a Groot tree? I'm like, if somebody makes that thing and sells it, yeah, we get. No. She's hell bent on having Groot. She loves Groot.
Yeah. But what I was saying with Guardians is that movie is nothing but fan service. It's just it's like Marvel's love letter to itself. It's like we make tons of sarcastic, snarky jokes. We've got some lovable characters that in any other movie might not work, but here we're gonna make them work, and it's all about the fans. You go back to when they were doing, because they haven't done them in a while, those little 15-minute shorts that they were putting on the DVDs. It's all fan service,
Yeah.
And it's I think it's why they make the money that they do, because these other studios aren't doing that.
Yeah. Well, and I'm sitting here thinking about a conversation we had when we did Blue Box Live, and we were talking about DC and Marvel and all that there, and talking about fan service and how that is something that is a difference between the two. Marvel proved it with Guardians. I mean, it is just fan service, but at the same time, it worked. I mean, DC's over here scrambling, trying to figure out how do we bring Aquaman to the big screen and actually sell people on the idea of a guy who talks to marine life. We had a walking raccoon and a tree, and it's the only thing that we can think about and talk about. And nobody knew who those characters were before this movie.
No, I'm telling you, it's I can't go into the Marvel versus DC battle anymore.
It's endless.
Yeah. But it is, like you said, it's fan service. We put out the plushies. I say we like I'm part of Marvel.
Right.
But you know what I mean? It's they're looking at every category. Every check the box. 5 to 10, got them. 10 to 18, got them. 18 to 35, got them. Old people, got them. I mean, that's the thing. Like with Marvel movies, everybody's going to these things. Everyone. Right. There's no age group that matters. The DC movies, I can't say that.
I'm with you.
Jack, you still alive?
Jack. He's sitting there in the corner reading his Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. comics now.
Where were we? I was
We're talking about Skye and Ward and their love affair in season 1.
Oh, yeah, I think that's when it ends with a bullet, it's done. I don't.
So, Jack, you're not a Skye Ward kind of guy, huh?
No.
Or Daisy Ward now, right?
Oh, Daisy Ward.
Daisy Duke.
Yeah, if she showed up at Daisy Duke's, Jack would have a different story to tell.
Hey-oh. I don't think they're done there. Yeah, I think there's going to be this kind of understory between him and Skye for quite a while. I think.
No, I agree with you.
Yeah,
but yeah, I was looking over the original comics, and AIM is almost like it's a division of them, and I don't think that's where this will go for. I think Sword is a better candidate for where I think Ward and 33 are kind of headed off to, or some sort of splinter group.
All right.
But it'll be interesting. Oh, the other thing I wanted to say was how about Maid taking the evasive action with the bus?
Oh, that was a great scene. That was
that was fantastic.
Really, really, really smart of her and awesome.
Did you see the twins? Everybody's just like hanging on for dear life, and one of the Patton Oswalt is also hanging on for dear life. The other one's just sitting there, kind of grinning and putting his thumb up, like, "Hey guys, this is great."
Yeah, did you hear the life model decoy joke?
Yes.
When he's like, "Where's your brother?" Oh, he's charging his battery. he's plugged in, and I was like, "Nope, you're not a life model decoy. We know now."
Yeah.
They're playing with us.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's definitely got to be a clone, though. There's no way, right?
I don't know which way they'll go with it. I think
I
think they're playing with us. I think they're kind of hoping that we're all going to sit down and having this exact conversation.
So are we, what, are you guys assuming that they really are just like triplets?
Maybe.
No, I think there's more than 3 of them.
Oh,
and
don't say triplet. It makes it a little very sad.
I think they're playing just like a little. I think it's designed for us, like, it's like for us podcasters to be sitting around talking about this very exact thing. And they're like, yeah, we're going to have everybody wondering whether they're LMDs or clones. And they're going to all talk about it like they know what the heck's going on. And then we're going to show them, like in about like the 3rd episode of season 3, and half of them will be wrong.
Right.
They're doing this on purpose.
Okay. I'm not denying you on that one.
They're toying with us.
They're toying with our emotions.
Yeah. We have a little in the palm of our hand.
Just don't say
I know.
triplet again.
Made me cry today. Just like so much pain.
Yeah, we're going to make a joke, make you think maybe they're not clones, and then we're going to make a joke and make you think maybe they're not LMDs. But you'll never know for sure.
You sounded like Dr. Evil right there when you were talking, but you'll never know for sure.
You'll never know for sure, number one.
Yeah. They have patents with laser beams on top of their head. Freaking laser beams.
Freaking laser beams.
Number 2.
Oh, man.
It just keeps getting worse. All right. Are we done?
I think so. I mean, they didn't tease anything for upcoming. I think everything they showed was something we already saw. So.
If nothing else, I read a whole lot of comics during this episode. Hopefully our listeners did too.
All right. Well, okay, that brings us back around. We have got to ask, I think, actually, Alil, your knowledge, plus Charlie and Phil need to compile a list of what we should be reading before we come back. I don't know if you're up to that challenge, but...
I think it probably should be 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
No, that's what you and I should be reading.
Exactly.
Wait a minute, I don't do any of these.
I think Alil probably edited the book, and he's just like waiting for us.
Yeah, please
catch up.
Could you guys please do some of these?
No, I've already been compiling a list myself, just because I want to reread and be prepared for next year. Even with Age of Ultron and with Ant-Man.
Man, Alil, if you just put this much effort into your college life, I mean, who knows what you could have done?
I know I could have been somebody. Now I'm a
graduated,
nobody.
But instead, you know a whole lot about Ultron.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
I could have graduated a degree in Marvel.
They probably pay better.
I wish. Yeah, I'd be there in a heartbeat.
Yeah, no kidding.
I'd be there cleaning toilets if I could. Shoot.
Wait a minute. I know a podcasting company you could clean the toilets at.
Hey.
Are you offering? We're taking.
No.
Boy, this podcast has gone down the drain considerably.
I'm feeling a little flushed. Why don't we end this thing?
All right.
All right, everybody.
I tell you, I'm wiped.
There it is. So a couple of quick things. For those of you that listen to the show regularly and want to support it, we now have a Patreon account. And if you're not familiar with Patreon, the way it works is you can donate instead of, like, we always ask, oh, hey, if you want to donate to the show, here's how you do it. With Patreon, what's cool is you could say, I'll give you $1 a show. I'll give you $2 a show, something like that. And let's shoot for the moon. I'll give you $100 a show. Wouldn't that be nice? And every time we post a show, it just, when we post it on Patreon, it kicks money this way. That money goes towards equipment. It goes towards expenses. I mean, there are things that it costs to do this. And that would just really help us out. So rather than have some kind of weird ad or anything, I just wanted to make everybody aware. If you go to our website, you can click on a link on the Nuff Said page that says support us on Patreon, and that'll take you to the page, and you'll see there's perks, and there's like some things that actually I know you read it, but Jack, I don't think you did. There are certain levels. If we hit certain levels in sponsorship, we do some shows just for you.
And other things.
Jack has a dress. Let's just leave it at that.
I guess I'm cleaning toilets. So.
A Lil will come and clean your toilet. So there we go. Patreon, it's our thing that we just added. You can also just go to patreon.com and type in Nuff Said Podcast and at least check it out. And, we just would really appreciate it. It would mean a lot to us, and we will mention it on the show when you do that kind of thing. You can follow.
Did you just say doo-doo?
Yes, I did. We're continuing with
Nice.
the a little cleaning the bathroom hunk that we've been doing. Very funny. And you can also find all of our past episodes and all of our shows at our website, which is www.southgatemediagroup.com. You can follow the show on Twitter at NuffSaidPod. You can follow me on Twitter at rsouthgate. Jack, you're at
J1 Grosky and Blacklist Pod.
And Olil, I want you to go ahead and talk about your website, talk about your Twitter, get it out there.
All right. Twitter, I am at LOGEEKZ, and that's for the League of Geeks, and that's Geeks with a Z. Also, we have a website, www.theleagueofgeeks.com, where you can get all your geek news. We actually have a writer for that site now who's got
you do?
really cool articles. Yeah, he did a review of Mockingjay and some other stuff. So it's been really cool. And we're on Facebook, Twitter, and social media everywhere.
Wow, I didn't know that you had a blogger on there now.
Yeah.
Excellent. Oh, I'm going to have to check that out because I do look at your site quite a bit, and I listen to your show. I mean, I'm sure you know that. And that's really cool.
I know it was you gave us that great 1-star review.
You mean the one where I said and a Lil's on the show?
Yeah.
Or was it Sean?
And any of them, but
and really, they're on the show. Okay, I'm on your site now. It's very cool. So I have not been on here to see that you had a blogger. I think wasn't Sean writing most of your stuff before?
Yes, Sean does do most of the stuff with the website, but he's getting some help, and we're always looking for more help. So if anybody's interested, shoot us an email.
Yeah, or shoot us an email at southgatemediagroup@gmail.com because we're always looking for bloggers and that too. And you know what? Right for both of us. That would be the real way to do it.
There you go.
Just like a Lil.
That's right.
So that's it. Oh, one more thing called the Fake Out. This week we are doing our live at the Blue Box podcast. We do this every week. The Blue Box is a coffee shop restaurant in Elgin, Illinois. And Lil and I go out to that. Jack's not here, so he doesn't get to make it out. But we do all sorts of different things there. This week, we were calling it our Dum Dum Mystery flavor because we didn't know what we were going to do. But we are actually going to be doing a live version of League of Geeks. I'm excited.
That's right. We're going to be talking all geeky stuff.
Yeah. And we're also, this is the first place we're announcing this, we're also going to be trying our new trivia game show that we created that hopefully, if this works, we're going to make a podcast out of our trivia game show.
That sounds like fun.
And one more thing, we have live music. We now have a new segment that is going to be put on the same feed as Live at the Blue Box. It's called Music Under Glass, and we're going to have acoustic groups come in, singers, songwriters, accordion players, whatever, and it'll be just like a little half-hour segment that's going to be on every week, hopefully every week if we get enough people to come out. Already we've got bands that are coming to us that want to do this, so that will be something else debuting this week. So if you can make it out to Elgin, come out, support us, see the show, that would be awesome. Plus, Blue Box Cafe is awesome. Best coffee in town. The sandwiches are incredible. And we have a really cool sponsor, the Martini Room, which is across the street. So after you've had your coffee and your sandwich and listen to us, go have some adult time and go get a martini across the street, which is what I think I may be doing this week because I think I'm going to need it. And if not, check out the podcast at our website because we do put every show we do up on our website. That way you can hear it. And, the live thing is just really cool. I'm having fun with it. I hope you are a little.
I am. It's a lot of fun. We love the interaction. So if you come out, make sure you shout out.
Yeah, let us know. You're an Upset fan.
Yeah, definitely.
We did have at our panel, we did a panel at Chicago Wizard World, and there were people that were fans of Nuff Said, and there were people that were fans of our Falling Skies podcast that were tweeting during it. And that was really cool. That are like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm seeing these guys. It was like, you know what, it's not that big a thrill, but all right, buy us a drink. So that's it. Do you guys have anything else?
Nope. We lost Jack, though.
All right. Well, let's just end this thing unless we want to try and get Jack back. Jack said enough said enough. That's it, everybody. Thanks for listening. Enough said.
Enough said.
Enough said.